Do you think there's any validity to this? Well, I guess it's not an idea. I actually interviewed a neurosurgeon, and he confirmed this because he's opened up a lot of brains, but the calcification of the pineal gland, do you find that to be a barrier to entry for anyone that's been drinking fluoridated water their whole life?
Well, there's absolutely, I mean, when I was in college and graduate school, I looked at enough x-rays, and even in practice, you could see the calcified pineal gland on a certain x-ray. And they used to use it as a biological marker. In other words, it measured the middle of the brain, and if it was off to one side or the other side, there was some space-occupying lesion, a tumor, something pushing it over. And it was always just, you always checked it to make sure there was nothing abnormal there. So it has become, in a sense, a marker, a radiographic marker. And you see them all the time. But I don't think the calcium is like a seashell. I think it's like a toothpaste consistency. I think it's more, it's the gooiness of the calcification and the density that creates it. And I do think that when energy is moving, I'm pretty certain that energy would definitely break those bonds. Think about those crystals as just stacked like this, and then you have a layer of goop in there, and they're all gooped. But when the energy strikes it, the energy is greater than the positive and negative charge that's holding them together. So it takes a greater force than the force that's holding them together to begin to dilute them into a solute, into a fluid again. And so you can, my point is that I don't want anybody to get discouraged and think, oh my God, my pineal gland's crystallized, I'm separate from the quantum and I can't connect. And well, that's why we do the breath, we want to begin to have energy begin to stimulate it. And I do think that when energy arrives there, I mean, you should, our brain scans show that there's a tremendous amount of energy going in there, and I have no doubt that it could break the salt into a kind of semi-solute substance into a more, solution-based, less viscous material.
When you're doing the brain scans, are you guys doing SPECT scans, or what?
No, we do quantitative EEGs. Well, we'll just keep doing them because we now know that we can induce that state. We now know that we can predict when it's going to happen. And we now know that we can replicate it because it's the same, we see the same exact thing. We're kind of demystifying that mystical experience. And if I see it in you, and then I see it in another person, I see it in another person, and I see, uh-oh, here we go, theta's getting big, oh, it's way outside of normal, okay. Then all of a sudden theta becomes the carrier wave for gamma, and all of a sudden the person just, they go right through high beta, right to gamma, and they're super coherent. And what so what happened to you? And they'll tell you the most profound experience. It's not, the subjective experience is being objectified, which is super cool because now it's becoming a law. Frequency, it's about exposure.
Right.
I mean, you take your cell phone, it's a transistor, you place it up against 78% water, and you got a wave coming through your brain, and you keep doing that over and over again. You do that for 20 years. Yeah, the frequency is going to regulate different proteins. You stand in front of an x-ray machine over and over again, and you work in an x-ray lab, and you're not taking care of yourself. The exposure over time is going to mutate DNA in cells. So but frequency, it becomes a function of exposure, right? And so I would say then the person that is more coherent in their energy, more coherent in their heart and brain coherence, may have enough of a field effect to disseminate or deflect some of that. But I do see that there's something that happens when people make up their mind. I think your body is a community of cells that's spying on your brain. I think most people, when they're making up their mind to do something, they're sitting on the couch, they got their laptop, their cell phone, their tablet, they got the big screen TV, they got the remote control, and they're like, I think I'll change tomorrow. And the body's like, he's lying to himself. He's not changing. And when we make a decision now, like I studied enough people, Luke, that had a transcendental moment and a healing that was a result of it. They just made up their mind, and they came up against this constant belief that this could work for everybody else but for me, and that's what's stopping them from having the experience, right? So it was natural for them to just say, I'm going all in. And that making up your mind, they made a decision with such firm intention that the amplitude of that decision carried a level of energy that caused their body to respond to their mind. It was greater than the hardwired programs and the emotional conditioning in the body. And the choice that they make became the moment in time that they would never forget. That's the moment they knew that their healing would begin.